What's going on, everybody? This is Ricky Haro. I am the race director for Tartarus, and this is your race brief. We're a couple days out. Things are looking really good. We're definitely probably not going to see the temperatures that we saw last year, which were pretty crazy, pretty extreme. But we had winners that went out to 175 miles last year. So it goes to show that with a good crew making good decisions and the runner making good decisions while they're out on the course, um, you can overcome even extreme temperatures the way that those two runners did last year. Um, so I want to be real quick because I know you all probably are scrambling, getting things ready between now and the weekend. I'm sure a lot of you all have goals in terms of a distance that you're looking to do. And the biggest advice that I would say is just go out there and have fun. Um, there's a little bit of anxieties that come to running a last person standing event or a backyard ultra. And a lot of it has to do with preparation for the big show. For some of you that may go or may aspire for that, or for some of you that don't, the elements that are brought into this race are pretty interesting, right? Like not having a map, not starting with a map, um, getting a chance the night before to run the course or walk the course, so you have an idea, but then having to get your timing down for all of that is really key. So what I'm going to do right now is just kind of walk through some logistics, go through what we're looking at for this weekend, and from there, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at kinixuultra@gmail.com, and we'll get you the answers that you need. Um, we are working on getting out to that course. We'll probably start course marking maybe super early Friday morning. Potentially, we might be marking Thursday night. It all just kind of depends on what's up, but we are in full swing and we're ready to go. This is my favorite event out of all the events. And every event has its own thing that I love, but in terms of an overall event that caters to all capabilities, this is the event. You can run 4 easy miles and you can do it within an hour. The goal is how long can you do that for? And how long can you overwrite your brain and begin to really rely on your gut and your instincts and making those decisions when you're ridiculously tired and just keep going. And you're going to find that the longer you go in these yards, the more surprised you become of your capability. And that's what really gets me excited about this event. We've had people who've run just one lap. And then we've had people who obviously have gone 175 miles, on this course. And it's a beautiful course. Um, the course hasn't changed from last year. We've got that dialed in for runners. For ruckers, it has, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm super excited to get this going. And from here on out is your race brief. So schedule events, Friday, August 13th, or August 13th, 18th of August. You can come in and the site will be ready to go for you starting at 3 p.m. I'm going to have one of the gates opened, and that's the gate that's closest to the Wilbur Trailhead. So as you're going towards the Wilbur Trailhead, you'll see a road on the right-hand side, right in front of a house. And there's a gate right there. The gate will be open. Just go through and you'll see where you can start setting up camp. You can set up your runner's corral, and then you can set up camp in a separate area, or you can set up your 10 by 10 and camp within the same spot. Doesn't matter. Course is going to be open to preview at roughly 3 p.m. We are, if you do plan on camping, we're dry camping only. So be prepared for that. Bring your water, bring all the things that you need. Empty tank if you're planning on bringing an RV out. RVs, we'll talk about where those need to be, but the camping area and the designated camping area is pretty much anywhere on that airfield. Uh, that's really the only big things that we've got going on. We do have packet pickup. Packet pickup is going to be from 3 to 5 roughly. If you don't see me there around 3 o'clock, come in around 4 to 5. 4 to 5 is the official packet pickup time. And so, just think about that. But I should be in and out of that area that if you did come around 3 to pick something up, I should be able to get that to you, no problem. If you don't swing in on Friday or you get in super late, it's not a big deal. This is not an event where you're gonna get picked up a bunch of stuff. I'm basically gonna hand you a race bib. Your Tartarus shirt is given to you after the fact. So I just want you all to think about that as you go into this. Saturday from 7 to 7:30 is our packet pickup. You'll come in, you'll grab your bib. I'll give you some information, and then you can go do whatever you want to do. You can swing in there a lot earlier than that. You can go in, you can set up your 10 by 10 or whatever it might be, but you probably won't see me until 7 o'clock, right on the dot for setting up. And I'll be right at the start finish at the top of the runner's corral from there. At 7:30 sharp, timelines are important. We are going to go into the race and crew brief. I would ask that you bring at least one person on your crew to be part of that brief and be able to relay that information to other crew that might show up later in the day or might show up for like an overnight shift, as an example. That's going to be done in the racer corral. At 0800, right on the dot, the race starts. And we go from there until we have one person standing in the ruck event and one person standing in the runner event. New to this year are a set of parking fees that you all need to be aware of. For day fees, you must possess either a Discovery Pass, that's $30, you can buy that online, or a day pass, which is $10. I'm going to have envelopes at the check-in. So if you need to get a day pass, you can get the envelopes. Make sure that you have this displayed in your vehicle. A lot of people last year got caught with this, including myself. I bought a pass, but I did not have it in my vehicle. And you need to have that in your vehicle in case the park rangers come through and are checking the airfield, making sure that all the vehicles have something in play. The other thing is that there is now a overnight pass that's $10 per vehicle. So you want to be cognizant of that. Do not park at any of the Wilbur or any of the other trailheads that are there. Come onto the airfield when you bring your vehicle in. As you come into the airfield, I ask that you all be very cautious when you're driving in to the airfield area, especially during the event on Saturday, because there will be people potentially running. We might be starting an event. That's one of the other things that I would ask you to relay to your crew is if they are driving in, to drive in a time that is not on top of the hour. So give us plus or minus 5 minutes to get runners started and get them out of the area, and then vehicles can come in after that. So where are we for the event? We are in Riverside State Park. We are in the Camp 7 Mile area. This is a airfield, an old school airfield that was supporting World War I and World War II back in the day. There is all kinds of military barracks type foundations all over this area. It's now just been turned into a big conservation state park area. If you Google 7 Mile Trailhead, the Wilbur Trailhead, that's going to get you into this area that you see on the screen. Where we are going to be located, or at least the start finish of this, is going to be this water fountain icon right here. And there is actual water now out there. It's a water fountain that you can grab water from. There's some shaded structures with some tables that are in play that are away from the start area. I ask, and you'll see it a lot closer, that you don't park near there. Let's use that more as a community type of area. But how you get out to there is you can Google 7 Mile Trailhead or the Wilbur Trailhead, and you can get right into those spots. As soon as you turn off of 7 Mile Road and you're on the road that heads towards Wilbur Trailhead, you're going to see signs for an event and where to go and park. what I would ask that you do is come off of the main 7 Mile road, head towards the Wilbur Trailhead. And the road that I was telling you that's going to be on your right is this little road right here that if you look down the road, you're going to see a big opening, and there'll be signs all along this. I asked that in the morning on Saturday, you all come in this route here. This other route will not, or this other gate will not be open, and it's a pretty popular trailhead. So just drive down off the road and then come from there. Alrighty, start finish. So the start finish corral is going to be set up the same way as we did last year. We're going to have between 3 and 4 portables that'll be right at the top of the runner's corral. There will be a start finish area that is located right here, and just right at the top of the blue dot and the orange dots. That's where you will see my headquarters, or the racer headquarters. Will be a 10x10, just located right at the top of the triangle, inside of that little triangular area where the roads intersect with the main airfield. During the night run, your runner will be leaving and essentially heading like northeast down the road towards the Wilbur Trailhead. During the daytime, your runner is going to be running along the road towards the top of this image. They're going to run around a runner sign, and they're going to come right back through the corral. Okay, and then they're going to go out towards the wooded area and then run their 4-mile loop, and then they're going to come back down the airfield road, basically towards the bottom of this image, and working their way up towards the start finish line. It's kind of important to understand and know, especially if your runner is really not in that great of condition, when they start the night loop, you're going to want to have them ready to go and, have things ready to transition them over a lap or two back out onto the road, which kind of leads us into our ROEs. So the course itself is measured. It's set up to be 4.1667 miles, which is a distance that Laz has set up as the official distance for last person standing events or backyard ultras. The runner loop is roughly 4 miles and 880 feet. And when I say roughly, what we do is we actually measure that out on the airfield. So when I get out there and I do my loop and I get everything set up and I get everything measured again, I'm going to measure out the remaining distance that needs to occur on that loop. And that will change a little bit depending on which trail is open and closed that we can use for the event. The Rutgers loop on the GPS, you're going to measure between 2.3 and 2.5 miles. It's closer to 2.3. It's a little less, actually. It's probably more like 2.25. So those are some of the distances that you should be looking for on your GPS. Everybody starts and finishes in the same racer corral. Everybody starts and goes in the same distances, and you come in relatively close to the same thing. You're going to be coming down the airfield. Ruckers, you need to watch out for your rucker signs, because you will start on the runner track for roughly a mile or so, and then you're going to kind of stair step your way back towards the airfield, get on the airfield and run that last little section in to the finish. The starting corral is always measured to fit the field. We basically carve out a little bit with Hammer Nutrition flagging tape. That you can set up your corral all around that particular area. Just know that you need to be inside of that runner's corral when the bell goes off, not running towards it, not in the bathroom, not anything like that. The bathrooms are set up in a way that when you do start the race, they are available for both the start and as you come back through. But when you're out on the course, they will not be available. You got to cross the finish line, go use the restroom, and then come from there if you need to use the restroom. We start on the top of the hour, so 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. The cadence goes the same. I'll yell out 3 minutes. I'll yell out 2 minutes. I'll yell out 1 minute. And roughly 30 seconds into the countdown, I will send out any announcements that we need to have. in there. I'll let you all know when we're transitioning from day to night, and then we'll go from there. We run 12 hours of trail and we do 12 hours of night. So we go from 8 to 8 on trail, and then from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. is what we'll do. So when we start at 8 a.m. the next day, we will start a trail loop. So just remember that when we come into play. As we come in and we go from 7 to 8 p.m., that'll be your last loop. And then at 8 p.m., we start the day loop, which is down the Centennial Trail, roughly 2 miles. And then we turn around and we come back. It's an out and back in that way. For those of you that are new to backyard ultras, you're going to hear two terms. One would be yard, another one would be loop. They're the same thing. A yard is basically the backyard ultra terminology for one pass of whether we do the loop or we do an out and back. And for those of you that are aspiring to go to bigs, we have modeled this course very similar. There are very close characteristics to the same elements that bring up and make up bigs. The distance is there, the terrain elevation gain is there for both the run and the ruck, or for both the run and the trail and the street, or the Centennial Trail section. So you're going to be bouncing every 12 hours from going from trail running to then going to a road run of some sort. So you have to be diverse in all of your running capabilities when you're going out there. Some things to note about this is that except for the restrooms, don't leave the course until you're finished. If you finish and you drop after that loop, then you come tell me, let me know. If you're gonna drop, just let me know, and we'll go from there. Usually we account for all of that as we go along. We'll try to chase down some folks. If you're dealing with a medical situation or something along those lines, definitely deal with that first and then come hit me up after the fact. Just remember that there is no personal aid once that yard starts. So when you leave on the day loop and you go out along the airfield, you wrap yourself around that runner's marker and you come back and you go back through the runner corral area, there's no aid. You can't take any aid through that spot, okay? Or any aid while you're out on the course. There's also no artificial aid, and we'll get into that here in the next slide. Remember that if you're a slower runner out on the course, or you're a rucker that's out on the course, and maybe there's a section where you're with runners, make sure that you step off to the side and let the faster runner go through, okay? In terms of winter results, things like that, we do have a live spreadsheet. We found that it's the best thing to communicate who's out on what yard and that kind of stuff. That spreadsheet gets updated by the yard. We try to get times in there. Sometimes in the first a little bit, it gets a little hectic, so we don't put times, but we just put that they passed through that particular lap. So if you hand that out and you share that out to your friends, just and let them know that there may not be a time hack or whatever might be in play. The way that we establish the winner, and something that you need to realize, is that this is a DNF race. So what that means is you're putting a DNF on the line, right? When there's only one winner in this race. And the winner is determined by the last person that can complete their full loop, right? So if two racers start and only one goes out, and let's say that second racer, the assist, quits as soon as that race starts, or they go out and they come back, that person, that the only runner that's out there, that solo runner or that solo rucker, has to complete that loop in order to win. And there can be no winners in this race. There can be a time where two ruckers and two runners go out and none of them make the time to come back in. The race is done. There is no winner to that, right? There are strategies that a lot of people will be employing, especially when we start getting down to that half dozen of runners that are still in play. There's a lot of strategy that starts to come involved, and those are things that you're just going to have to work with as a runner, right? You might see a runner that may not look like they're in really good shape, and they line up every single time. It is not your call to tell them that they should stop or they should drop or whatever that it is. That's that own person's runner call. And then if they line up, it's another loop. Okay. And so I just want you all to make sure that there has been backyard ultras where there has been no runner at all because nobody made the time coming back in. And that's just the name of the game. Alrighty. So just some clarifications here. Artificial aid, what we talk about here are things like cooling vest, things like electric fans and stuff like that. We don't use on the course. You can have those here in the racer and then the running corral and how you support your runners. You can have large amounts of ice. You can have tons of water, cook stoves, the full works. This is set up to be able to bring in all the things that you need in order to succeed. But when you're out there on the course, you're doing it on your own. Now, cooling vests is very different from like a cooling handkerchief or something that you're putting ice into and you're tying up. What we're talking about are these big, large vests that people have, little things that they can put coolers in. That is something that we don't use on this course. But you can put like a hanky, you can roll up ice in a shirt, tie it around your neck. You can have ice shoved in your ice pack and let it melt and cool over you if it gets really hot in the afternoon. Those are all things that you can do. There are no trekking poles allowed on the course. No radios, not radies, but radios or SMS between the crews while you're out there. Make sure that you're just running under your own willpower. For crews, I would recommend that you bring at least 1 to 3 people out. And if you've never done a backyard ultra before, I would say, bring one person that's a primary lead crew. And if they can go the distance, that's great. But if they can't, have a backup or 2 to be ready to go. If you're up there and you're thinking that you're going to be one of those folks that do 100+ miles on this, highly successful crews, with the exception of one, Brady's crew lead. She's awesome and she will stand a distance. And same thing with Dan's crew. Those of you that Dan won in 2021, Brady won in 2022, and even the assists that were part of that were making some crew mistakes that potentially delayed their capabilities. But Dan's crew and Brady's crew, both of them crewed solo, and they're amazing. They're capable of doing it. They know how to sleep. They know how to get all their things in play. But if this is your first run and you're looking to do 100+, maybe 30 hours or so, I would highly recommend bringing a backup person to help you at least just take the load off for 3 or 4 hours for that lead crew to get some rest and get back in the game. There is camping allowed. It's allowed on the outside of the corral. If we go back a couple slides here, all of the brown rectangular areas are areas that you can camp. You can set up tents, bigger tents. You can have your family and all that camp out. All that we ask is anything in that yellow box area, and I'm going to have orange flags flagging out this particular the racer corral and then the actual start finish corral. And those are all places that are reserved specifically for running crews and their setup. Think of your space as like a 10 by 10 area. You can bring a canopy out. You can light up the space however you want to light it up, and bring out cooking stoves, the full works. I mean, in the morning of Sunday morning, if Brady was out on the course, Angela's, she's busting out bacon, she's busting out pancakes. I mean, you can smell it all through the camp. That's the kind of stuff that you should be thinking about if you're looking to go beyond 100+ miles, is how do you set yourself up for success in the best possible way that you can. You've got a 10 by 10 area. You're going to have places outside that you can set up camping with, and you can also bring in more things that would allow you to do that. So just keep that in mind. Some folks will bring out small little mini campers. You can have that close to the corral. It just can't be in the runner's corral. And you're just going to have to be creative if that's what you're going to use to support yourself throughout the race. And that's it. I'm super stoked to have all of you out for this event. Again, this is mainly a fundraising event for us to work on adding contributions to the SEER Memorial Fund. And what that Memorial Fund is it's a way for us to be, as a community, to be able to give back to the Seer community, which has been a part of the Spokane area for a really long time, and really Eastern Washington. There's a lot of exercises that are done. There's a lot of communities that support, this community. I've been a part of it as an active duty Seer specialist, and I've unfortunately had the experience of having service members go down and become fallen service members. And a lot of what we do for this event and why we put these events on is to be able to have a fund, a memorial fund, that allows us to give back into that community and support that community the best way that we possibly can. And sometimes it might be, unfortunately, paying for flights for people to get to funerals of loved ones. It might be, handing out $1,000 scholarship for one of the survivors that are part of that family. And so we love to give back in that possible way. And the way that we do that is through these events. So I always tell everybody, if you feel inclined to donate more, feel free to donate. We're a nonprofit, it's tax deductible, and we can get you receipts and all of those things that are in play. And everything that's left over out of this event goes into that fund and continues to help support the community in that aspect. So I appreciate everything that you all do. I'm super excited to see you all coming up this weekend, and I can't wait to meet the new faces that come in. And I'm definitely super excited to see every single one of you push to that next lap. Every yard is a doable yard in an hour. I can say that. It's a matter of your will. It's a matter of the attitude that you have. And it's a matter of teaming up with somebody and getting out there and getting that extra yard that you have. This is a safe event for you to be able to do that. And I cannot wait for you all to push yourself and go from there. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email us. Let us know how we can help. I'll see some of you on Friday, and I'll see all of you Saturday morning, and I can't wait. We'll talk to you all later.